Christoph here for another Alestrals video, and we're doing another deck build today. I know they've been coming a lot the last couple weeks, but especially with newer cards and Celebration, we got some new art, especially Circle the Sky. Figure we'll do some deck building and we're gonna show off some awesome cards. This one you're gonna notice there's some camels here, and it is gonna be the head camel himself. It is a deck comprised of Pharogeist. Pharogeist is a 2 lunar, 1 solar, 9 attack, 13 defense, which states that it cannot be destroyed by battle and cannot be sent back to the owner's hand. So, for instance, if they use Shield of Achilles, not going to work. Also, the additional effect is my opponent must expend a spirit for every card they cast. So even Earthquake's one of the only cards that really can destroy this. Instead of the 2 costs on Earthquake, it's going to cost them 3 for the additional effect anytime they summon an Alestral. If they want to heal, it's going to cost them 2 to heal 3. So it becomes very I can't even say the word right now. It's just not going to be pretty for your opponents. You know what I mean? It's not going to be fun. Personally, every time I've seen Pharogeist come out, the game's been pretty much over after that. There is a cool combo you can do to get this off field. It is very expensive, I will tell you right now. But when, say, this card is attacking, Gorgons Gaze, so it's going to cost you 3 to play Gorgons Gaze, but it's going to shut off its entire effect. Then, because it is still attacking, you can use Shield of Achilles. Because this is a 3 cost, it's going to cost you 4 for the shield. It's going to cost you 7 spirits to get this off field, which is great as long as your opponent can't bring it back out a couple turns later. This combo has been used against me once by Eclipse Moonglow, and he can tell you I got it back out 2 turns later. So just keep that in mind. But there is an out to this that isn't just destruction. On the flip side, have your Boom Bats, your Resting on Your Laurels, your Earthquakes. That's pretty much the main ways you're going to destroy it. Curibus comes to mind. Disenchant 2 water off your field to pop a card on the field. So again, that's another one that can get rid of this. Rock in a Hard Place, prime example. As long as I have a Lustral on field and I have a card in the back row, I have to choose one and it gets destroyed. So it just really depends on what scenario you want to go. Do not ever be afraid of certain cards in this game, thinking that they're all powerful and they can't be removed. Every card, at least in my opinion, every card in this game has at least 3 or 4 outs to it. Sonicor is a big card. Everyone is so afraid of Sonicor. If you suppress it, you can change position, you can get it destroyed. As long as you suppress it, that thing is gone. Mudlet and Eddy, switching it to defense mode, effect shuts off. So just keep that in mind, guys. Again, I am a big Sonicor lover. You can see by the mat. Normally I am a Thundercaster. So just before we start the video, I just want to say that, guys. Like, don't ever be afraid if you see a big body. If it's mid to late game, most likely the game's going to be over real soon. But if you see your opponent get something like this out early on, do not get discouraged. You built your deck the way you built it. Keep that in mind. Keep your confidence up. That being said, let's go ahead and start the deck profile. We have 2 copies of Pharogeist, and that's right, I do have the Stone Tablet Pharogeist. I'm a big believer, unless they're Stellars, I would like to have multiple versions of certain cards in the decks. That's just something I like. I like it to be a little different, you know what I mean? So we do have 2 of the Pharogeist in there. Next up, we're going to have our Pharaoh Mouse. So we do have the Stellar promo, and we have the normal one. 4 attack, 7 defense, 1 lunar, 1 solar. And it states that when my opponent declares an attack, I can expend 1 lunar in order to negate the attack and special ascend this into Pharogeist. So again, on my opponent's turn, I can go ahead and get the guy out. Calf-Mel. Good card to have in any solar or lunar deck when it is destroyed. When it's ascended or it's destroyed. So basically, whenever this leaves the field, unless you suppress it, you're going to heal 3 spirits of any combination of lunar or solar. So that's why this is in this deck. This deck uses both lunar and solar. So just 3 more heal options in this deck. Between the 3 of these, I will heal 9 every time if I get all 3 of them out. Next up, we're just going to go ahead and finish all the solar cards, and then we'll switch over to lunar. We have 2 Lumarus, strong 5 attacker, and then its natural ability is to mill your opponent when it destroys an Alestral. So, in my opinion, really good card to have. Again, like most 5s, it does have a low defense, so Cryoblast is a card that outs this. But again, able to mill your opponent, you might mill all their Cryoblast. Like, it just depends on how the deck's shuffled. And last is going to be 2 sets of Plucky, 2 cards of Plucky. Searches a Divine in your deck and add it to your hand. Next up, we're going to have 3 copies of our Spect Terus. So again, every card in every Alestral in this deck can ascend into Pharaoh and therefore into Pharogeist. There might be a little bit of Nexus in this deck. We'll get to that shortly. But again, Spect Terus, for every suppressed Celestial on the field, it gets +1 attack. When it enters battle with an opponent, that opponent's Celestial gets suppressed as well. The only flip side is if it's two Spect Terus going at it, whoever the attacker is, their effect activates first. So it would shut off the other card. Keep that in mind. Verituka is one, and Veritako as well. When they attack certain attack or defense position Celestials, they suppress those cards. So just keep that in mind. But again, just like Viscerus, it is a 4/2. Every time it enters battle, it's basically going to go to a 5. Navi, talk about an honorary 5 Celestial. Very good card to have. It's not going to see its full potential until Moonrise comes out, which also, by the way, if you guys need to pre-order Moonrise, check the comment or the description down below. I do have an affiliate link, and pre-orders go up November 15th. But this is a 4 attack, 1 defense, which states that when it receives 1 or more lunar, every Celestial that isn't lunar or solar loses 2 attack until the end phase. Its additional effect is an Ascension, but again, that card, Double Gator, isn't released yet, so no point going through the rest of the ability. But again, it's going to bring any Celestial down. So if your opponent has 5s out, for instance, summon this guy, it's going to go down to a 3. Navi's going to attack over it. Again, that's why you kind of give this card an honorary 5s membership. And last but not least, a newer card that was only released just like that one in Shadowed Stars is Gloom Bat. Gloom Bat is a 2 attack, 1 defense, which states that this Gloom Bat can be special cast with a lunar if your opponent has at least 2 face down runes. You can disenchant lunar from this Gloom Bat in order to target and destroy a rune. So right off the bat, destruction. This card was released to block the back row. Everyone in the meta, even right now, or at least until Moonrise comes out, the meta is throw a bunch of back row down and stop your opponent from attacking. Again, even bluffing. Gloom Bat is going to stop your opponent from doing that. It's going to give them, it's going to hurt them for trying to play it that way. The flip side, using its effect to get it on field is a special cast. So if you really wanted to, you can do double Gloom Bat, ascend into Pharogeist. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to Ascension and Celestials, it's all spirits on field. So if I have 2 Celestials and I want to summon 3 cost, I can siphon spirits from both of them to play my Pharogeist. So again, kind of good card to have, really good card to have. I haven't played this card too often. It's more been like I need to get an Celestial out, and I do have a counter, so I can protect it for a turn. But the special casting part is top tier. And it doesn't cost you anything. That's the other thing. A lot of these cards in the games, Tadpuff being one of them, you have to expend a Water Spirit and then use another Water Spirit to play it. This one you don't have to expend. You can just go ahead and play it. So those are our Celestials. Now this deck list is kind of weird. It is a 20-20 split. So you got 40 cards in every single deck, no more, no less. This is split right down the middle. It's going to stay like that until Moonrise comes out. Once we see more of the lunar and solar cards that get released, this deck could change. I will tell you right off the bat, because this is more lunar based, that I do not have a stadium rune in this deck. Again, I could throw a Temple of the Sun, but it doesn't make much sense. The new Temple, it's going to be Temple of the Moon. That probably will get subbed into this deck once Moonrise releases. But at this time of making this video, we are still 3 months away from Moonrise being sent out to stores. So we're going to have to wait a little bit for that one. Going into the runes, Earthquake. You're only allowed to have 1 Earthquake now because of the recent bans. So this just felt good to have. It gives me that extra removal. Ambrosia. We only got 2 Ambrosias in this deck, but we have the 3 Calf Mels to heal. So between the 3 Calf Mels and the 2 Ambrosias, we're healing 15 during the game. Not to mention, if we get Pharogeist out, it's going to cost our opponent extra spirits every single turn just to play their combos. Circle of the Sky. We only got 2 of these in here. It just made sense to me, especially with Navi's out. Being able to lower my opponent's attacks even more. Again, you can play Navi, lower everything by 2, Circle the Sky, another lunar onto it, lower it again. So now they're going to be lowered by 4. So in my opinion, a really good combo to use. Also, Circle the Sky lets you heal. Or lets you draw, I should say. So you're only going to be able to draw 1. It's not going to be like Nectar of the Gods where you draw 2. But again, using this card for other effects on the field makes sense to me. And then matching that is going to be Artemis, which we only got 2 of. Artemis is the lunar divine, which states that every time you disenchant from this, you get to suppress a card until the end of their next turn. So, for instance, a buddy of mine used this against me with my Sonicore deck. So it shuts Sonicore off, so my entire turn I can't use that ability either. So basically, you're losing the abilities for 2 turns. So really good to have, again, nexusing around the field as well. And then if I need to suppress my opponent for whatever reason. For me, it would be, because is this a target? It is a target. So it probably would not work against cards like Chronodile, but it could work against other Elestrals on the field. It can work against Stadiums. It can work against other Divines. So just something to keep in mind. Altar Stars, again, we're going to have that Nexus bank, so we do have 3 Altar Stars. Being able to change battle position definitely helps, and then again, using Nobby's ability on my opponent's turn. If they're attacking into me, I can use Altar Stars, Nexus onto it. Now they're going to lose attack, and they might crash into me. You do not have to change battle position with this card. I want to make that very clear. It says you can. It's not you must. So I could use Altar, Nexus a Lunar onto my Nobby, lowers my opponent's attack by 2, and then I can let it sit. They'll attack and probably destroy themselves. But we have 3 copies of those. Next up is going to be your Poison-Tipped Arrow. Got 2 of these in here. Arguably one of the best counter runes in the game, being able to pop your opponent's Celestial. Keep in mind, depending on what their original cost is, that's how much extra you're paying for this card. So you will see it is a 1 cost to play, but you're going to expend more depending on the Celestial. So say if you're going to use this against the Pharogeist, it's going to cost you 2 instead of the 1, and then it's going to cost you 3 additional because that's the cost on the Celestial. So just keep that in mind. Spirit math. Really keep in mind for your spirit math. Next up, we have Shield of Achilles. We just got 2 of these in here. Again, being able to send a card back to the hand. You want to use this if they have a special effect. If you want to use this, say it's Ash-Rabbit or Ash-Rabbit and they have multiple spirits, being able to get it off the field, or your opponent's heavy hitter. If you have enough spirits, able to get, say, a 3 cost back to your opponent's hand. It's going to cost them, obviously, those 3 spirits they just lost, but then they're going to have to start over. And hopefully at that point you can get some kind of a board state going and start protecting yourself. Gorgons Gaze, just 2 of these in here. Again, being able to shut off an Celestial, especially cards like Pharogeist, if you have a big play you want to do, feels good. Last but not least, we got 4 more cards. We have Argo. So basically, this card, when my opponent, or when any when any person, caster, decides they're going to attack, when they declare attack, you're going to play Argo, search your deck for an artifact, and then you play it immediately. The number 1 card I can think of to go with Argo in this particular deck would be your Golden Fleece. Golden Fleece does cost you 2 for activation, gives your card, your Celestial, +2 defense, but once you're allowed to block any destruction from that card. It does not stop Shield from sending it to your opponent's hand, but it does block destruction. So again, Earthquake, resting on your laurels, attack declaration. This will protect it once. So the combo I've been liking to use, Golden Fleece with Pharogeist. And then you're not removing it. The only cards that are shutting that card off are destroying it. Boom Bats, you got your subs, Curabusses, you got resting. I think I said Earthquake already. But again, those cards are going to destroy it. So having Golden Fleece out is a good way to protect it a little bit more. And again, your opponent's costing, because of his effect, your opponent has to expend more spirits just to play those cards. So that is our 2020 split for the deck. Last up, we're going to have our spirits. So this one, again, spirit math, kind of down the middle too. So we have a total of 10 Owloons. We have the 2 Taratlus to go ahead and play our Earthquake, and shout out to Base Set's Hollow Taratlus. And then you're going to have a total of 8 Luminates in this deck. Again, spirit math seemed to go very well with this. The deck is now primarily lunar. The original build for this deck, before some of these cards were released, it was mainly a solar deck. So I think it was the 2 Earth for the Earthquake. I think we only had like 4 or 5 of the Owloons total. So obviously, as the game evolves and new cards get released, each deck is going to evolve from there as well. Once Moonrise gets released, who knows what's going to happen with this deck and what we're going to do at that point. That being said, guys, that is the end of the video. If you are new, please go ahead and subscribe. We have videos posted weekly. Please like the video, comment down below what you think, and then also too, let me know if you're going to build this deck. I am 100% okay with you guys mimicking this deck or any decks that I post. That's why I'm posting it. But please let me know if you guys are using it, and then tell me how your results were when you guys played tested and you guys tried it. My name is Stellar Christoph. I hope you all have a stellar day, and we'll see you next time. Peace. For the gods smile on us.
under fire.